me. The whole city got pissed, heard he got 3. That other nigga got a hip and shouted he not out. Who set the city on fire soon as he got free? The king back now. Hold don't even know how to act now. Hit the club, strippers getting naked before I sat down. Still ballin', money stacked tall in shack now. Still push a button to let the roof on the lag down. I'm on the road doing shows, put my Mac down. Mississippi to Philly, Albuquerque to Chat Town. Got the crowd yelling, bring 'em out, bring 'em out. All my hot girls yelling, bring 'em out, bring 'em out. All the dope boys yelling, bring 'em out, bring 'em out. Front the back gate yelling, bring 'em out, bring 'em out. Get with other rap niggas hooded than this. I got rich and I'm still on some hooligan shit. You be rapping by a blow, I was moving the shit. You talk about shooting out, now we're doing the shit. If I hit you in the face, you gon' be suing the shit. And if I catch another case, I know it truly be missed. So I'ma keep a cool head, stay out of the news headlines, and show these other rappers it's bedtime. It's clear to see that I'm ahead of my time.
What's going on? Welcome to Common Conversations. If you're tuning in on the Facebook, welcome. This is us setting up and getting ready to go live with our the creation of our podcast. So tune in. We'll have a great conversation for y'all tonight.
Mic check 1 2 1 2. You wanna beef with the king? What is you gonna do when you show up on the scene with 2 guns drew on you and your friend and play a little 2 on 2? If you do half of what I do, you'll be hitting the deck. I got a tool and a vest, I can get some respect. I'ma make it hard for a sucker nigga to flex. Show him this ain't a squad for a nigga to test. Pimp my nuts too large and we way too fresh. Work well with 9s, AKs, and texts. And quick to check a lane like a game of chess. You wanna beat, nigga, bring your best. Cause we be standing in your front yard yelling, bring 'em out, bring 'em out. All my hot girls yelling, bring 'em out, bring 'em out. All the dope boys yelling, bring 'em out, bring 'em out. Front the back gate yelling, bring 'em out, bring 'em out. Oh, front yard yelling, bring 'em out, bring 'em out. All my hot girls yelling, bring 'em out, bring 'em out. All the dope boys yelling, bring 'em out, bring 'em out. Front the back gate yelling, bring 'em out, bring 'em out. Oh. Bring 'em out, bring 'em out. 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 You just heard the sound of the king of the South. T.I. I go by the name of 2 Feet the Monster. I need y'all to rewind this and play this from the top. Bring 'em out, bring 'em out. 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 She was crazy.
Power to the people, rest in the nation. Power to the people, what's your situation? Power to the people, rest in the nation. Power to the people, what's your situation? Power to the people.
What's going on? This is Common Conversations. If you're watching the Facebook, you know that we're getting ready to start our podcast. This is the beginning. A little bit of new music. Tranere over there jamming today. You know what I mean? Y'all ready to get started?
Down the street, but the kids still bleeding. Right wing, left wing. I just wanna fly. We looking overseas, but it's war up in the shot. Everybody want jobs. Everybody laying off. They greeted out of nerve. It ain't really paying.
Dopeness. What's going on? Y'all ready to queue up? Get the record button.
Yeah,
we doing the music this time today. What we doing, y'all?
Crap.
We just
I haven't loaded it. We'll just have to
run it.
Yeah, let's run it.
All right, we just gonna run it.
In 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to Common Conversations, where it's the odd fellas, four fellas come together to talk about this, that, and a little bit. No topic is left off the table, and sometimes we even let people from the outside in. If you're viewing it on Facebook, welcome. This is how we build and develop the podcast, and if you're listening to it later, this is the edited version, and thank you. And there we go. We got an applause. We got something. This it is. So this is the fun part. You know, for those of you who are watching us on Facebook or you're watching us live somewhere, this is where you see all the bloopers, all the fun and crazy stuff. So you know, we'll drop things. You know, Tranere might fart. Damon might dig in his nose. I mean, something's bound to be a little wackadoo as we develop this bad boy. So relax. I'm just saying that's what it is. But as you know, as we normally start our show, we start out with two different ways, and Damon and I have decided to switch seats, which makes this really kind of awkward. It's a little weird, man.
I like it.
All right, so to the left of me, we got
your left, right, left. Hey, what's up? This is Damon, aka Damon Does, father of two, husband of one. And I am just happy to be here after a crazy hectic week. Yeah, how's everyone else doing?
Wait, you don't get off that easy.
Hey, I'm trying to be nice. I'm trying to be nice.
If we're gonna tap into
I'm trying to be nice, Chef
this
man.
This whole show is about, what did I say? Truth, lies, and death. So part of, if you're watching it on Facebook, tuning into the podcast, you know that the true story is that we have to be authentic about our lifestyles, what we do, how we do it, how we're feeling, things that have happened to us. So this show is to some degree a diary. Right, our diary,
or a therapy session,
real talk.
And so we get to be a little vulnerable in this space. So we welcome you to be a part of that. To the right of me is who? What's your name this week?
Formerly, I was known as the Shadow. Apparently,
there'll be no more of that.
I'm now known as Chef. So
the chef.
We are dishing out
Ohio State. The chef. Get it right.
Yes.
You did.
We are dishing out food for thought. Step into the kitchen. Are you hungry? You should be. Come on and join us.
Damn, man, you almost took my panties off, man.
That's so much a violation. That is a violation. Total violation.
I ain't even cuss yet. Just so y'all know, I got 40 in the tip and the cussing jar. Anybody out there who want to add to our cussing jar because you want Tranere to say a bad word, all y'all got to do is just throw it in the PayPal me. But over to the far right is the man with the most, the man with the master plan, the only bachelor at the table. We got 100 girls and they be screaming, "Yo, I heard this dude got the bang in his bachelor plan in Jeff." But I'm sorry, I'm not supposed to say that. What's up, Doc?
That is totally not true.
Was that a violation?
No.
Okay, just checking.
It's not a violation.
Just checking. I don't know. I don't know how this works.
But I like that you are inquisitive. I like it. Thank you. Exactly. What up, everybody? This is Tranere, aka Trey. You already know what it is. Superman don't go nowhere without his cape. Super fly, super fancy. Fresh off the 43rd birthday. Super excited. Glad to be here and ready to rock and roll.
Happy belated birthdays.
Happy birthday to you.
So what does the bachelor do at 43?
Oh, man, rip and run.
Rip and run?
Yeah.
Just, man, if y'all...
That was vague as hell. Just let it go. That was vague as hell. Let it go.
Y'all got to see, he got the most devilish ass grin, too. Like, I'm just real talk, right? He got that smirk that when your mama said, you got them cookies?
You got some in your teeth, bro.
No, I didn't get in the cookies.
Hey, you got some in your teeth, man. Like, look a little yellow feather or something, you know.
Wow. He said you was
I got a toothpick.
He said
you're the cat. You were smiling like the cat that ate the canary. You know what I'm saying? Golly, go and spell that out.
He went to a burlesque show. Stop that.
Show did.
Cut the games.
Didn't invite nobody. Kind of my jam, man.
Listen, I am not in the business of getting married men hemmed up.
Oh, that's fair.
We're gonna unpack that. I'm gonna put a little note right here. Married men hemmed up.
Yes.
I'm not sure what that means.
We got to get into how we start the show. So if you're tuning in, you know that we start our show every show. Tranere has these magic questions that he gets to throw at us, and he does not prepare us, right? So we don't get them beforehand,
or myself,
or I still think that's some bullshit. How do he like? I'm gonna come up with a question and I'm not prepared to answer it.
You gonna give us a pop quiz and pretend like you haven't studied for the test?
Yeah, true story.
No, because out of respect for y'all, I don't do that. I think that's a violation.
It's a violation if you. All right, I got you. I'm just saying if I prepare a question, that's me.
But I ain't thought about the question. Yeah, I wrote it down, and I really didn't even write it down until I got here today.
That's traineering, y'all. That's traineering.
That is
subconsciously, though, you were thinking about that question.
That's untrue.
I'm not. No, subconsciously. Subconscious. That was absolutely worthless for the listening audience. I pulled the sleeve up. No. For you to. Now, if you sat and thought, wrote the question down, it's like, okay, now what am I going to, that would be consciously thinking about it. Subconsciously thinking about it is putting something out there and then letting it go. It's kind of like when you're at school and you're stuck on a math problem or whatever, or at least I was stuck on a math problem, a lot of them, to be honest. And I was like, I can't do this. I'm just going to let it slide and just leave it alone. Go to sleep, wake up the next morning, your subconscious went to work on that question or that problem, and you wake up and solve it. That's the same type of thing. So you're not cheating on purpose, but you're cheating.
And that Smart says, let's get this bad boy started.
Let's just get this.
Wow, I actually got him. Got him on that one.
Let's go.
What the bad part is, you're serious
and correct. Hate on me all you want to.
Well, but so of course, I got 2 questions this week. We're gonna kick the first one off.
Who's first?
It's gonna go from
around the table.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I guess so.
You know how we do it.
In the hot seat then. So
I'm in the hot seat. That's cool.
First. Starting it off. All right, let's go.
That's cool.
I like how you made that switch.
Yes,
too.
sir.
So he don't have to go first. He get however long you take to answer. Think about it.
You got about 30-45 seconds, player.
Here we go. Who was the first actual person that you wanted to be like?
My dad.
Okay.
Why?
Expand on that. Yeah. Holler at your
boy.
boy.
I think that's something that all boys do anyway, but he's the first person I consciously wanted to be like, just because my dad he was always in control. He's very, at least outwardly, unemotional. He's very in control. He's always surveying what's happening around him. And I mean, my dad's always been a bigger than life presence, which is probably why I overcompensate the way I do sometimes, because he has a presence about him. People are drawn to him.
Right.
And I wanted to be like that. Like,
yeah.
The funny thing, I was always the smallest kid in class, and my dad's about 5'10", about between 225 and 240. He's a stocky dude.
Right.
And so, and most people didn't meet my mother because my mother worked during the day, dad worked the night. So he was at the games and all that stuff. And so when people saw me, I was, a little stick figure, not much more so than I am now. And, and people would see my dad and be like, wait, and because it just doesn't look right. And I would hear invariably, so what happened? And so, drawing that kind of attention, I always wanted to draw that kind of a positive attention. That was one of the reasons why I wanted to be like him.
Right.
Dope.
I like it.
I like that a lot.
Miguel?
Real talk.
John
Dillinger.
I want to hear the answer. I want to hear
it. Here we go, y'all.
I know it's going to be good. This is probably the most excited about that Miguel answer I've been for a while. So, yeah, I'm ready for this.
Sorry.
So
John Dillinger was like the dopest bank robber in history, my opinion.
Okay.
Right.
This is going a different direction, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, where did you think this was going to go? Like, I grew up loving money.
I feel you.
And it was the greatest gangsters of the world who had all the bread. You know what I mean? Rockefeller was a gangster. I don't care what anybody says. That dude straight up killed people to get what he wanted. But I digress, because I didn't want to be like Rockefeller. I wanted to be the guy who was robbing banks across the country and getting away with it. And I remember when I was really little, My dad is kind of a little crazy. We used to be in a certain part of Pennsylvania, and there was this bank in this town. And when I was probably, I don't know, 7, 8 years old, we used to sit up on top of the mountain and watch everybody who would go by the bank and how long it would take to get to the next town and what route you would drive to if you robbed the bank, how to get away. And I don't know. So those little crazy things happened when I was little, and it stuck with me. And so by the time I got to middle school, I started reading all these different crazy books, and I stumbled upon John Dillage's biography.
Okay.
And the craziest thing was what caught me or got me was he faked his own death. Basically, he hired a dude. The FBI was coming after him.
Wow.
He hired a dude to dress up like him to go into a movie theater to watch a movie. And when the guy came out, the FBI killed him.
Wow.
Damn.
And so they was like, yo, we got him. We finally got him. The most infamous bank robber in the country, yada, yada, yada. We squared him up, blah. So years later, they get this letter in the mail, basically, and they send it to the FBI and says, you didn't get me. I'm still alive.
Dang, that's rough.
That's
you know
hard.
what I mean? So by the time I got to the end of the book, I was like, bruh, that's a mastermind.
You did.
That's a
Real
dude
talk.
that looks at every level, every layer, every step, and understands what it takes to get to a place. So yeah, my first person when I was little, who I wanted to be with, that's him. Later on became a couple other people, but
Facts.
they were similar.
Okay.
Like
I like
Attila
it.
the Hun and a couple other folks, but
Okay.
I digress. Let's
The
go.
chef.
That's a good question. I've been sitting here thinking about it. Because I didn't grow up with my father, so I didn't meet my father till I was an adult. Actually,
Interesting.
so my growing up or looking at my father as someone I wanted to emulate just didn't exist for me. I think the first person I actually wanted to be like was my Uncle Ray, because he's a pastor, he's a family man, and he allowed me to come into his home at a time when I was desperately in need of a father figure, and he became that for me, and it was like breathing to him. I was one of his boys, like one of his sons, and he showed me what a good God-fearing man can look like, what a good father looks like, what a good family man, what a good husband. Even though it was a very brief window of my life, he modeled those things for me. So my Uncle Ray was the first person I wanted to be like.
Okay. I like it.
That's
I
cool.
like it. I like it. So for me, the very first person that I wanted to be like, I don't remember the exact age, but I remember it was an award show, like the Grammys or something. I don't know, one of them. But I remember seeing LL Cool J, and I was gone. I was gone off L. Like, oh man, look, this is what and then I later learned I couldn't rap. So I didn't have bars. And so I was like,
Sometimes
well,
it just be like that.
On to the next guy. But yeah, LL, everything about him was cool. It was fly, he
I mean, who didn't want me? And he got all the chicks. Like, who didn't want to be LL? I remember when I was little, and LL come on, and the girls would see the little bald head, and he'd be licking his lips, and they just go wild.
Yes, sir.
I mean, I didn't want to be LL, but maybe going bald a little easy.
Yeah. Let that breathe.
Yes,
Let
sir.
that breathe.
Real talk.
And he always had a hat on.
A true story.
Let that breathe.
And them little beanie joints, I call them little head condoms.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So I hear, and I've never fact checked this, but I hear, so we'll say rumor, that he gets paid extra for like film and TV if he has to take off his hat.
Oh, that's dope. That's how you know your brand, bro.
Real talk.
Like when your brand got power, that's some dope shit.
Yeah.
Especially for something that small. Like,
yeah. Well,
like is he self-conscious about it, or
maybe. Who knows?
I didn't know if you happen to know.
But I did hear that. I heard that like maybe 15 years ago.
There are more ridiculous things out there.
For sure. Okay, so that's an excellent question. Excellent answers. I like it. Question number 2.
Let's go.
We back at Damon. Which talent would you most like to have?
Which talent would I most like to have?
Yeah.
That's an interesting question. And there are lots of talents that people would like to have.
Yeah.
I mean, I would, some people would want to dance, some people would want to draw. That'd be an interesting one. The thing about talent though is you have to practice at that, and so any talent that I would want, I would tend to gravitate towards that. So
I'm just saying, just to be clear, like you born with it, you just got it.
Oh, wait. Did I misunderstand the question? Ask the question again. I may misunderstand you. My apologies.
He said, "What shoe do you put on first? The backwards one or the left one?"
Let that breathe. I can't with this guy.
The left one.
It's going to be one of those tonight.
Yeah. Which talent would you most like to have?
And then there's dead air.
That's because I don't know. I have no. You know what? I'm gonna pull a Miguel on this one. Can I pass for a second? Because I'm not really sure what I'm not 100% sure what I want to answer this with. Because I
see what happens when they change chairs.
I mean, right?
He becomes
this would have happened because normally I have plenty of time because he's going at least 5 minutes on anything.
Exactly.
It's like, so what is 2 + 2? It's funny that you asked me about 2 + 2, right? Because with the modern economic situation that I find ourselves in today.
Right.
Now, honestly, I'll answer it with this. Because I'm not sure if this is a talent but this is an answer, and this is what I'm gonna stick with.
Okay.
One of the because there are times I'll be straight up. There are times I've been really frustrated being on this show, and for a variety of reasons, all of them are my own. But the one thing two things keep coming back. One is your company and your love. I guess those 3 things in. The other thing is there's something from each of you that I know I have to learn. That's why you showed up in my life. I want to learn confidence from you. I want to learn sensitivity from you. And I want to learn how to pick the right things and pivot when I need to, and decision making from him. Like I know what I'm here for now. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I want those talents.
Okay.
Let's go.
I like that.
I like that.
I like
I
that.
can work with that.
Miguel.
And he answered that shit like I would. So now I'm gonna answer like he would.
Boy, it's gonna be a short answer.
I can't sing for shit. And you know what? That's a talent that I do not have. And if I could sing, that would be dope.
Okay.
Real talk. I mean, the only person who likes to hear me sing is Tia. And I think that for whatever reason, that's the comedic part of our relationship.
That's hilarious.
You know, she's smiling on the outside, but I will always believe that she's laughing at me inside.
Right.
But yeah, sing. If I could blow, man, that game changer.
I will.
She's biased.
That's true. Let me ask you this then: would you ever want to? Because singing is also a skill.
Yes.
And like your talent only will shows your peak. Like with IQ, it shows what your peak potential is. So you saying you can't sing, that means your potential is lower than say Tia's. As an example.
Would a lot of people.
I'm using.
Really
That's true.
say that?
Why are you? What is wrong with you?
Like,
I've heard Tia sing.
Listen, hold on.
I'm so confused. What the fuck? What the fuck is happening?
Hold on, bro.
Took the front seat,
I'm
bro.
not
Had number
laughing
one
at
seat.
you.
What did I miss?
I'm laughing because Tia said Miguel has the key of Q.
Damn. Wow.
Here, I'll show that again for those of y'all who
Wow.
I
I keep forgetting this thing. I keep forgetting the screen is over here because I'm used to doing this. I'm talking to you.
Yeah.
But would you be, you're talking about that talent. Would you be willing to work on the skill to develop the talent that you have? I'm curious.
So you're saying like if the opportunity for me to train to learn how to sing, would I? Absolutely.
You have an amazing singer as a wife. That's why I'm asking.
I don't know if she can teach me how to sing.
Yeah, you still gotta have some mustard,
bro.
man.
I'm not even gonna try. Like I'm talented in a lot of shit. Real talk.
Right.
I'm black, white, and Latino. I got the German side.
He can shoot.
I
He
can shoot.
He can play
I
cards.
can
And
play
be
cards,
racist.
and I could be racist. Oh my goodness! And some of my family is racist as hell. We did get that trait, right? That's probably why I be mad all the time.
And he's phenomenal with a camera.
Absolutely,
Oh, my
absolutely.
goodness.
I didn't know that was a. I didn't know that was that
Yeah.
sort of thing. I didn't know that was a.
You got to have the eye.
Well, that makes sense. That
That's
makes
been
sense.
since I
And,
was a kid.
bruh, that's a. If you haven't seen this man's pictures from this past weekend,
Man,
get on
You need
Facebook
to-
and look at those
you need to check
pictures.
that out for real.
They look, no joke, they look like something that could be in
That's
like
Pulitzer-
National
Pulitzer
Geographic
yeah.
or
Pulitzer
Pulitzer
Prize.
like
Yeah.
magazines. Like that's
Facts.
no joke. That's
Facts.
no joke. That's not hyperbole. That's not a joke. That's
Talk that
not
talk.
me being funny. That's not being a wise ass. That's the
hyperbole.
Yeah, he came with that hyperbole.
He's
That's
sitting in my
$5
chair.
word.
Y'all see what he did?
That is true.
You put the mind in this seat, and the game changes.
Let that
I'm-
breathe.
I'm gonna let's go. Let's ride this motherfucker till the wheels fall off.
You did. Okay.
All
Okay.
right, all right.
So Miguel said sing, y'all.
Yeah, man. Same.
let's hear it, Chef.
Which talent? If
Yeah.
I can have any talent,
Yeah.
I would like to have Professor Xavier's psychic skills and abilities.
All right.
Ooh.
He put some real shit.
Yay, nerd stuff.
Nerd stuff.
Okay, so does anybody at the table not know who Professor X is? Okay, I was gonna guess.
You really don't know who Professor X is?
Nah, I'm not into comics and all that.
I was too busy chasing girls, player.
Wow.
Oh, whoa.
Oh,
Oh,
oh.
you gotta relax.
Oh, you got a whole new demand over here in the
Yeah.
first chair.
Boy, you done put that thing on.
I'm just saying,
I
lock
feel
and
like
loaded.
he done took my cake.
Go on, shoot.
You know.
Professor Xavier is the leader of the X-Men.
Okay.
And he is one of the most powerful telepaths on the planet.
Next
Okay.
to Gene.
Omega level.
Okay.
Next to Gene.
Next to Jean Grey. He-
You do
Okay.
know what telepath is, yes? I'm
Telepathy.
being a wise
He can
ass.
read-
Telepathy?
Yeah, telepathy.
Yes,
Yeah.
read minds. Okay, I just I didn't know.
Yeah, I'm
Yes,
with that. Yeah, I'm pretty smart on
If
that.
I could have any talent,
I'm just saying,
It
shit's
would be
happening today, y'all. I mean,
that
real
talent.
talk. If you out there listening to common conversation, this
Okay.
shit is wild.
it's a
I
whole
like
new
it.
show.
I like it. I like it.
And
I
you,
like
my
it.
friend,
So,
Good answer.
you know, this dude over here, 2 spots from the left of me, took my answer.
Oh, okay.
And I said I was gonna say singing, so I'm gonna say singing.
Okay,
I'm gonna stick with that. But yeah, if I could blow though,
man.
now
I'd write a half a dozen songs. I already know what they would sound like if I honest to God could sing.
ooh, wait. Hey, listen now, I gotta keep it 100, you know, because you know, we said when we started this we would be authentic and true.
Let's go.
And y'all know I'm 43 now.
You old. You
Hey.
running with it.
I don't have any kids.
A true story that you know
yes,
of.
I did hear about that.
That you know of.
Right.
Today.
Ain't nobody
Calm down.
came, ain't nobody
Right.
came knocking on the door yet.
Exactly. Well, ain't no yet. Calm down with the yet.
Nobody's claiming daddy yet.
Right. But if I could sing, I probably would have 10 kids by now.
Dang.
Really?
I ain't gonna lie to you.
Are you
cuz
just saying you're just that's not being irresponsible, right?
yeah, it's irresponsible.
Just checking.
Yeah.
So, no, what he's saying is if he could sing, the quality of his women would step up. So like he'd get a Rihanna and
Whoa,
he
whoa, whoa, whoa.
automatically let that
That's,
slip.
that's not what I'm saying.
Oh.
That is not what I'm saying right
You
there.
gotta
See,
relax.
you added a little extra
Miguel's in
into
the
there.
salty chair.
What
Maybe
I'm-
that's the salty spot. Good.
But
grief.
I would be whining and dining them if I could sing.
So if you would sing, you would pay for dinner instead of them paying for dinner.
Wow.
That's not
No,
no.
Just break it down. What you saying?
What I'm saying is I'm singing them draws off.
Oh. So now
I was-
okay.
I was with you.
I'm just trying to.
I was
break
with
it
you.
Now, to be clear, it is irresponsible.
It is a little
Yeah.
reckless.
Yes,
But
But I
It'd
don't
be
care.
reckless.
I don't care. You know, he gave me the gift.
You were honest.
Yeah, yeah.
I respect that.
I gotta be honest.
I respect
you know.
that. If I was
If-
single, I probably would have said the same thing.
Yeah, right.
I-
Absolutely.
I'll
I've been
add a little
drinking.
bit to mine. If I, in real life though, if I could have any talent, it would be, I would want to be able to play piano like Mozart
Ooh.
at the drop of a dime. I can play, I've written songs, but to be able to play like Mozart, to be able to just create, to take a piece of music and hear it one time and to be able to elaborate it much better. Just have the piano abilities of a savant.
There it is.
Wow.
Okay. There it is.
I
Well,
heard an interesting story about Mozart a couple days ago. Actually, his dad wrote the book on like composition and tested all his theories on Amadeus.
Mhm.
And so he had, by the time he got to, he was writing his more famous symphonies, he had already written like 200 composed 200 songs. I don't know, just
Right.
random. I've been finding it.
Right.
Talent plus hard work equals
success. A brief. All right, y'all. Well,
All right.
let's get to it. Let's have a podcast here.
How we
what
gonna
the hell are we doing for the last half an hour, man?
Let's have a podcast.
That's why Nikki on here on the Facebook, like, what the hell is y'all wrong with y'all? Except she was talking about draws and not just quality draws, but draws all the same. There it is.
Well, first off, everything I do is quality.
Message.
Let that breathe.
Breathe. You gotta relax now.
I'm just saying. Well, we should have that. That's before we jump in today's actual topic, but that should be a topic we should have. Quality ass.
Okay.
Like we should invite a couple ladies on, whoever, right? Randoms, and talk about what is quality ass. Like real talk, because I hear women out here, they be bitching and moaning sometimes, like the dude didn't hit it right. But then I also know there be some lazy ass women.
Bruh.
And
God.
So there's that conversation, whether it could be good or bad,
Well, listen,
I'm not showing up that day.
You got to,
brother. I am playing.
Let me
gotta
say,
be here.
I am
in
playing
the number one seat.
I am playing hooky that day.
to your point. To your point,
like real talk.
I just had this conversation a few weeks ago with my mans, and I was like, in his lady, and I kept saying, "There's levels to this."
Absolutely.
I said, now I do have a gift.
Man said he got a gift. I'm not gonna debate you.
That I can look at, a chick and say, "Oh, I bet she got
This Billy D over here, y'all.
she got that fire."
Yeah.
That thing.
But how you know she got that thing, and then she just lay there like,
Well, in my time,
Okay.
How do you know?
He's 43.
Yeah, I'm 43 yesterday.
Okay, 43.
Yesterday. Thank you.
43 years of training.
Yeah, 100%.
Traineering.
Thank you.
43 years of
Traineering.
Yes,
training.
sir.
So I've had some experiences,
Poor Nikki.
and I would say that in my gift, I've only been wrong a handful of times, maybe 2 or 3 times ever.
Okay.
Where I'll be like, "Oh, she looked like," and it turned to be the other thing. So
Respect, man. I didn't have,
Facts.
I ain't had a whole lot, but I had a lame duck or two. But again, what? This is part of the show. We talked about it. Lies, truth,
Quack, quack.
and death, right? So this is
it right here.
This is
This
is absolutely the show, y'all. Welcome to Common Conversations. If you're watching this on Facebook, if you're tuning in later, this is what happens when you have a stressful ass week and the 4 of us come together.
right.
And apparently don't need anything to be any deeper than it already is in the world.
Ain't that the truth?
Right.
Nose deep.
Right. He over here nose deep with his fingers to his nose, smelling himself. Let's go.
I am pretty.
Wow.
I am pretty. You better recognize.
See
what happens when y'all change seats.
Man,
You're
right,
welcome.
man. Let's go.
So
A whole new
we need
game.
to know. We make sure Damon is always pointing west when we got to engage.
Hey, listen, he's got his A game today.
Don't he though?
You got your BJ Armstrong popping today, baby. I tell you. So it has been a trying week. It's different challenges presented to different people. We've had some ups, we've had downs, we've had things we celebrate, we've had meetings, we've had discussions, we've just moving and shaking. And also, just for the record, I turned 43 yesterday. So that part. Yeah.
So
that part.
So we're gonna throw this out there. If you want to, you can send anything you would like to Tranere, 1611 East Main Street,
Did you
New
just
Albany,
put-
Indiana, 47150. This is our studio. He will accept all gifts from the beautiful women out there in the world. No dirty draws. Please clean them first. He don't like to smell stinky.
That's a
I'm
fact.
just saying. So, but if you
Real
want to
talk.
throw out birthday gifts, you're more than welcome to the Bachelor.
That's right. And so with that said, this week's topic is truth, lies,
and death.
and death.
Because that's what we facing in this world, right? But that's our everyday existence if we really want to accept it.
100%.
And
Right.
so you know what, so those of you who are listening and watching, one of the things that we do is we come together before the podcast and we throw around titles and concepts of the things that we want to talk about. And to be honest, we give ourselves very little room to research what we're going to discuss. And so we were just throwing around, you know, we was tossing it around and say, here it is, let's go.
Right.
So
one of the topics we discussed, or should I say we kicked out there, we just threw it up against the wall, is, and I love the topic. I'm, you know, really grateful for this conversation. But if you only had 6 months to live,
true story,
Real facts.
what would you do? 6 months to live. And so I thought that was an interesting topic because it's really, if we really want to be honest and forthright, it's really talking about the now.
Yes.
What would you do right now?
Yes.
If you knew January 1st, 2021, it was over?
True story. I mean, because the reality is this. We don't know when time is up.
Right.
And so many, one of the things that we do in our conversations is about how do we move forward, right? What's our lateral movements? What are our goals? How are we going to reach them? And then we talk about often is taking the steps to actually achieve the very things that we want to do in this life.
That's right.
Looking at Damon over here making me laugh. You know what I mean? So, you know, true story, COVID-19, right? Who would have thought this shit was coming and shut most of us down for months at a time? You know, we got protests going across the country. Shout out Black Lives Matter. Let's move.
Yes.
You know, we have the opportunity to remove racism from our, you know, the systematic racism that exists in our country. But here's the reality. There are a lot of folks who did not know yesterday, today wasn't coming.
That's right.
And so, you know, 6 months, man, if I'll take the lead on it. Like if I knew, and this is something that I ponder often, like if I knew when I was going to die, are there things that I do different? You know, or, you know, and more so, am I living this life to its fullest potential?
Right.
But if I knew that this was the last year, bruh, let's see. I don't want to even call it a bucket list, but I definitely, Suge and I have been talking about off and on since she was little, getting a big not a Humvee, big caravan, what are them things, RVs,
yep.
And like actually traveling across the country.
Right.
And I've been thinking about it this year because, you know, business has been basically closed, and I was thinking, man, you know, what if, you know, we could jack somebody's RV, borrow, steal, whatever, and literally travel across the country for the remaining of the year, right? Tia is right now doing teletherapy. You know, there's a really genius out there that might be able to rig the bus so that we got Wi-Fi, so that no matter what, she can go to work and still be, you know, HIPAA compliant. You know, I can do photography, graphic design, and cuss at people anywhere. But that is definitely one thing that I would do. And I think the rest of it is I'm doing it.
Right.
In a sense. I'm not doing everything that I want to do, but I'm doing it. Like spending time here with y'all is an amazing piece, right? It's an amazing piece of 2020 and all the crazy shit that's happening. I told my wife one day that yes, we can absolutely leave Jeffersonville. I told her, you know, Atlanta, you know, with all the protests that's going on, you know, in some part of my mind and some part of my soul, I said, I've been waiting for this my entire life. I've been waiting for, you know, for the nation, us as a people, to finally be tired of systematic oppression and systematic racism and police brutality. And, you know, and in this life, I'm so ready for the uprising. And, you know, if I had 6 months left to live and I knew it, I'm going to tell you, they would call me Toussaint L'Ouverture. But I digress.
What does that mean in English?
So Toussaint L'Ouverture was one of the most gangsters, slave revolters. So my man led the revolts in Haiti.
That's where I thought you were going.
So that's why America and Spain and Great Britain still hate the Haitian people.
Mm-hmm.
But Toussaint was a beast. Y'all got to, if you don't know anything about Toussaint, man, later on I'll throw some links out there on the website and maybe even on the Facebook. But you got to read about Toussaint. That was a bad man. And he's not one often told about in the history books because our aggressor, right, our colonizer doesn't want you to know that there were powerful men and women,
right,
who led the fight against slavery all over the world.
right.
So the Haitian Revolution, y'all got to check it out. And the French baby, yes, he fought the French. That's why I need Tia, because I don't be recalling shit, but it's my favorite stuff. But let's go.
She's so brilliant.
She is absolutely.
So I like this question because it really, if I'm being honest, it forces me to be transparent with you guys. And so I know we laugh and we joke and we cut up and all that good stuff. But if I only had 6 months to live, and I'm gonna be candid here.
Let's go.
I would make sure, all the necessary things are in place. I mean, I do that now, but I make sure that all the necessary things are in place for my mom, but that's a given, right?
Yeah.
And so if I'm being honest, I would say that I would probably 6 months, I would find me a girl, marry her, and travel, do whatever we wanted to do together in those 6 months.
Let's go, man.
If I'm being straight up.
Right.
And I'm gonna get some money somewhere along. We're gonna get some bags too, but just experience all types of different stuff, whatever, Now there's rules, of course, always.
What's the rule?
No bungee jumping.
Why not? You're gonna die anyway.
Because I don't want to deal with all that.
Okay.
Listen, if we gonna die, I at least want to go on January 1st, 2021.
You stand that all the way out.
I need that full length.
You're not looking to expedite the process.
Right.
I get that.
Pause too, But so, I said something, you didn't catch it. But anyway, so
I got you.
But that's what I would do, man. I'd find me a lady, man, marry her and do whatever.
So what would be the point of marrying her just in that 6 months?
To have someone to share it with, share that time with.
But do you need to marry her to share that time with her?
Not necessarily, but it's what I want to do. This is my story, Miguel.
I'm just asking a question. I'm just asking a question.
This is my answer.
All right, there it
This
is.
is your 6 months.
Yeah,
you sensitive to that?
Can I be the best man or just a man in the wedding?
I just want to play a little.
I might let you get a front row seat, but
damn, I don't even get to stand with the.
Can I object?
He said I get to sit in the front row.
Listen,
I'll write you a little song.
When
play a little music.
When she put the ring on my finger, I'm gonna give you a 5.
Pause. This motherfucker said when she put the ring on his finger.
Yeah. Don't the guy get a ring too?
I gotta love Trey.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Married guy.
But he getting the ring first.
Right. And this is gonna be more expensive. She's gonna propose to him, and she's gonna have to use 2 months of salary to pay for the ring.
Hey, look, real talk. 6 months, I ain't gotta pay for the ring.
That's a good point.
I'm going big. Big diamond.
Finance that thing.
I ain't even financing it. I told you who my favorite people were.
Oh,
I'm going to get them things. I only got 6 months. You can't stop me, bro.
You're gonna be on the run for 6 months. Hey, at least you doing things.
Got the caravan, got my family. We going in. We shooters.
Right.
There it is. He said we going in.
I can't stand
everybody in the family can shoot too.
I can't stand
every one of them.
Yeah, let that breathe. I can't stand Nikki. Nikki said, and leave her. That's a rough 6 months right there. Like, we tried to end on a positive note here.
Real talk. Sounds like a good time though.
Real talk. All right, who else?
But yeah.
Let's go.
I have no idea what I'm going to answer with this, but I did see a comment on here from David Head. It said, wish I had the motivation and inclination to do just that every day, to live like tomorrow might not come. I just thought that was really cool. It's like, right? Like I probably spend that 6 months trying to do that. You know what I mean? Because I'm pretty much, other than my day job, everything would be roughly the same. And the reason I wouldn't want my day job is so I could spend more time doing the stuff I already want to do.
Right.
And that I already enjoy doing. Spend time with my family, spend time with you guys, fostering relationships. There, as an example, there's a lady I hadn't seen in Oh wow, it's been years, and she's popped up in my mind over last couple days. We did a one of those landmark forum seminar, like self improvement seminar type thing. She's a super cool chick, and I haven't seen her in years, and she keeps popping in my head. Like I would want to reconnect with her just to see how she's doing, like stuff like that.
Right.
It's kind of what I did when COVID hit. I was like, this literally can all go away. Like I start calling up random people, like, why are you calling me? Just shut up and say hi to me.
Right.
You know,
that's right.
I mean, and I would spend the next 6 months doing that, and probably chasing my wife around the house.
Got you.
Right.
So
chasing he be wanting to chase the wife around the house a whole lot, man.
Yes.
I'm just throwing that out there. We know his that part. That thing.
I have an agenda. I have an agenda.
But you know, but I think it's interesting what David said in the sense that, you know, he wish he had the motivation, right, to do the thing.
Right.
And you know, I would challenge anyone who's listening, you know, to find the influence. Don't look for the motivation to do it.
Right.
Find the thing that's going to influence you to wake up every day tomorrow and do exactly what your desires are.
That's right.
Keep it legal.
100%.
You know, please, because
Real talk.
we don't want you to hurt nobody. We want you to be here tomorrow. But I mean, because here's the reality. We don't know when we're going to go.
All right.
God didn't promise us, or whatever you believe in, didn't promise us anything.
Right.
Right. So we have today with the hopes of being here tomorrow.
Right.
And every day that we wake up, man, you get an opportunity to do just that. Everything that you want to do.
That's right.
Right. If you want to tell your boss to kiss your ass tomorrow when you wake up, do it. You know why? Because you can get another job. Don't be so stuck in this life trying to achieve shit that don't amount to nothing.
Right.
We chase money in this life. And one thing everybody talks about is you can't take it with you.
Right.
You know what? You can go get some bread, buy some land, buy some houses, right? You can leave that to your children. You know what I mean? Oh, you know, I want to chase my wife. Let's go. Do I want to chase my girl? You better stop. So those of y'all that are listening to the Common Conversation, my wife is on Facebook, and she said, "Do I want to chase her?" She know how to chase, jump.
So to your point, I once heard a quote.
Go.
It said that, and I don't know who the person is, and I might paraphrase it slightly, but it said the best time to plant a tree was 30 years ago. The next best time to plant that tree is today.
Yes, sir.
That's a go, man.
Yes, sir.
Look at you.
Yes, sir.
So
let's go.
If whatever those things are that you want, you know,
let's go get it.
That book, that podcast,
that cookbook,
that cookbook,
that restaurant,
you know,
go get. I mean, because here's the thing, like everybody tells you to wait. Oh, it's going to take time to do something. Right. So take your time doing it. Well, okay. Time is relative. That's why I don't wear a fucking watch. Right. Because most motherfuckers are too busy looking at the watch, watching time.
Let that breathe.
Right. I'd rather spend my life using my time, not worried about what time it is.
Right.
Right. So when I get up and go to work, I go to work when I want to.
Right.
If I call you back, it's because I call you back because I want to.
That's right.
Right. My goal, and I'm done, you know, COVID-19, fuck you. But my goal of not having debt, make sure that I do not have economic shackles attached to me.
Man.
So that I can live the way I want to live. Right.
This dude just said a word. Can you repeat that, please? I don't want nobody to miss that.
The economic shackles.
Yes.
The reason I try to stay in my attempt to stay out of debt is so that I do not have economic shackles attached to me. So that I can live the life that I want to live. I don't have to have the fancy cars and the big ass houses that make you stuck chasing something.
Wow.
Money.
Wow.
Right. This tangible piece of paper that we got in this jar that really don't mean shit. It has no real value, but what we fake.
Wow.
And the agreement that we agree on that with rules that we didn't even we didn't even help write. We didn't even help write them.
Not at all. You know, we find out, you know, because I gotta throw this plug, right? Breonna Taylor, rest in peace. Yes. You know, we're looking in the newspaper the other day, and it finds out that Brianna may have been killed because she's in part of a development side of the west end of Louisville. And they apparently wanted some buildings and some apartments removed, murdered due to economics.
Somebody else.
The cost of economics. So man, live his life. Live his life.
That's
you know what I
right.
mean? Because a no-knock warrant and a mistake because you got some knowledge might be your front door.
Justice for Breonna Taylor.
True story.
Real facts.
But man, David, yeah. So anybody out there that's listening, find that influence, find that one thing or those two things that make you wake up every day to do exactly what you want to do. We know for Tranere, it ain't bungee jumping.
No,
Not at all.
Or no boats, no cruises, none of that. No water,
Boats,
nothing.
cruises,
Yeah.
water.
No, I don't do water either. But something I learned not long ago. And all of that is true. The next best time is today and all of that. But I also learned a valuable nugget that it took me a while to get. Like I didn't understand it because I was always a destination person. Like I was always a destination person.
Yeah.
I got to get here, got to get here, got to get here. And what I've found through talking with people, talking with other leaders, and just having conversations is that it's not about the destination. It's about who you become along the journey.
Preach.
There it is.
You see what I'm saying? And when we just had a conversation before we started this about, your income is not going to outgrow who you are.
Who you are.
And so if you want higher income, that's the destination, right? But you got to be a more valuable person, right? So that's who you become.
Or take your value to someone who values you.
That too.
But if you don't value yourself first,
there's another message.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
So how do we gain value in ourselves for those who don't have it?
Right.
You know what? Here's a better question.
You got to get in those conversations. You got to talk with people.
How do we see ourselves how other people see us?
Whoa.
I actually have an answer to that one.
Go.
Oh, I'm about to say I got an answer for that one too.
Okay, so I was in the school of metaphysics for a while, and it's learned. It was about meditation, things like that, consciousness of the mind.
Right.
And one of the exercises we did is we had to take somebody who we got along really well with and write everything that we like about them. And then we had to take a person we're having challenges with.
All right.
That's right.
And write all the things that are challenging about them. Both of what the lesson is both those lists are reflections of you. The only reason you notice is because you have those traits. So to answer your question is like what else is you see what you like about somebody, you have that. I have a friend of mine, Trish Oaks. Yep. I think she's online. She told me that.
Yep.
Real quick shout out to Jason Bumba. That's my dog. Love you, guy. Right. But when you see those things in other people, that means you do have them.
And same for when you throwing shade at somebody for something they got.
How many fingers I got pointed at
That's
me, right? I'm
That's
pointing
right.
at you with
That's
one,
right.
and I got 4 pointing at me.
That's
back
right.
at me.
True story. The bully is the weakest person in the room.
Ain't he though?
Facts.
Man,
he's got the least. She has the least self-confidence in the room.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, we know that.
Yep.
Right. When we typically pick on other people, we are basically just blocking our own insecurities to make ourselves feel good.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
Or for us to counter the damage that has been done to us, and we're just letting it out.
Yes.
But yeah, but I think you're spot on. We have to see, like, people see me sometimes and they be like, "Oh my God, Gail, you did this, and this." And I'm like, "No, I'm not."
Yeah.
Right. And sometimes I'll sit back and say, "Man, I wish I saw myself."
That's right.
The way you see me.
Right.
Right. But then reality is I want to talk to that person a little bit more so I can start to see myself that way.
Right.
I think the key thing with that is in learning how to see yourself through the lenses of another person. I think it centers around the trust you have in that person. Sometimes we don't trust the people who are speaking into our lives. So we blind ourselves to what they see. And that trust extends from ourselves. We don't trust ourselves with ourselves.
let's play with that word trust.
Okay.
You know, I got hella trust issues, right?
Yeah,
No,
yeah, yeah.
And let me answer the first question.
Go ahead.
Real
Go
quick.
ahead.
I actually did almost die.
True story.
I don't know if you all know the story. I was at a doctor's appointment. I was talking with my doctor. I started suddenly feeling nauseous. I fainted in the exam room. When I came back to myself, I was paralyzed from the neck down.
Oh my God.
And I was trapped in my own body, rapidly losing my ability to speak. It's been October 10th. This year will be 3 years since that has happened. And one of the things that's been a challenge for me is that experience of literally trapped in my body, watching myself die. I'm in the process of dying. They're pulling out the crash carts. They're getting ready to hook me up. And I'm trapped in my body watching all this play. I can hear everything that the doctors are saying. I can see what's going on around me, but I can't communicate with anybody. For me, one of the struggles with that is it put a fear inside of me that I've never experienced before. And I wrestle with that a lot. You know, and it really caused me to struggle with who I am, my own identity, and my own sense of self-worth to myself. Because the dreams I had, the visions I had, the things I saw myself doing, I realized I didn't really accomplish any of that. I haven't accomplished any of that because I was too busy chasing futile pursuits. And I never would trust myself or the people who were strategically placed in my life at certain points and intervals enough to step out on faith and move in those arenas.
Right.
I thank God for the three of you, because here I am, and it has come back around again. I now have three brothers in my life.
That's right.
Who all have a unique and different perspective and purpose. And I'm realizing I'm learning how to trust you all.
Right.
So when you see something in me, when you're going to speak things into my own life, I'm learning how to even though I may not see it in the moment, but I trust you enough
to
be able to see, to be able to look back at myself through your lenses. And it has taken me 49 years, almost dying, and a whole lot of life just to come to this point.
Right.
Because I learned very early not to trust. You could not trust the people who say they love you, the people who say they're there for you. Because inevitably, they're only there for you for what they can get out of you. Right. Once they've gotten what they want out of you, you have no more value to them.
Right.
So in growing up in that fashion, I could not truly see the true value of myself.
Right.
But I'm glad that I am where I am now, that I am surrounded by people who can speak into me.
That's right.
Who can see me from vantage points in areas that I can't see myself.
Right.
And that I actually can legitimately trust their perspective.
Right. Right. That's powerful right there. Wow.
3 years after death, right?
Right.
That's what I'm gonna call this.
Man, because
what do you value now? Do you see the value? I mean, like for me, you get a start over. You get a start over like most people don't get. Right. So you met the flat line basically, and then woke up and said, bing, yeah, great. And I'm not to take anything away from the trauma that comes from potentially dying. Right. But there's a whole, for me, I'm looking at it, there's a whole new life and a whole new opportunity presented to you. I mean, have you begun to look at it in that sense? I mean, because you know this very question, what happens if you know you're gonna die in 6 months? Bruh, you at the table almost died. Right? It's time, it's time to live.
Right.
Like it's easy to die. It's real fucking easy to die.
Facts.
Right. I know enough people in my life who have died. I know enough people who committed suicide. I know enough people who have died by the hands of someone else. Easy to die. Fucking hard as hell to live this life.
Right.
Right. But you faced it. You win. Bruh. Like you got a whole different story. My opinion. I reserve the right to be wrong.
Right.
No, and You're right. And I think for me, and I've been thinking about this, matter of fact, all week long with everything that's going on, um, learning how to let go of things that I've held on to that have truly, truly weighed me down. It's hard for someone to put something in your hand and give you something new when you won't let go of the very thing that you're holding on to.
Wow.
And I heard a preacher say it like this: God is desperately trying to get you to let go of the things that you are desperately trying to hold on to.
Have you let go? Have you let go of them? Any of them yet?
Actually, yes, I have.
Cool.
I have let go of them, and it's hard. It's challenging.
Sure.
Because these things were life to me. They had significant value and meaning to me, but because of that, I don't think I was able to see the real weight that they were, and how they weighed me down, and how they at certain points and intervals really hindered me from achieving the things that I know that I'm capable of, things that I know I want to do.
Right.
So when I look at it, 6 months, what would I do? And Miguel slightly stole my answer, in the sense that I've always wanted to get an RV, drive down the East Coast, look at all the lighthouses, because I love lighthouses. It's something that I love.
Right.
And learning how to not live my life for the pleasure of other people.
Right.
But learning how to live my life for the things that I enjoy, the things that make me happy, the things that are my purpose.
Right.
Because I've poured out my life for other people.
Fuck them.
Freaking
right now,
men.
But
not so
all in the air. Just
but hold on. In a
I want to hear me
very
coming.
particular kind of way, though, that is part of your gift. Like, you are a really giving person. Remember, I said last week, service to many leads to greatness. And you are always in service to people. So there's greatness. But I hear you. Like, I don't want you to think I didn't hear you right there, because I did.
And I appreciate that, because I do want to be who I authentically am. And you're right. That is a part of who I am.
100%.
So being who I am, but also not being trapped by other people's perception of who I am either.
Right. Right.
We got a comment earlier from, and another one from David. Trust is allowing your vulnerability to be exposed.
With individuals, I would say, yeah.
Right.
I agree with that. Because we talking about, trusting people, or, even trusting the process. Sometimes, you can get frustrated because the process is not going as the way you thought it should go. Right. And you get frustrated, but maybe you do that privately, but publicly you present like everything's all good. But privately you're
but maybe sometimes it's okay to publicly be like, yo, this is fucked up.
Exactly.
The process sucks. It ain't working. Like we've been taught to hide the challenges that we face. Yes. We've been taught to hide, the struggle.
Right.
Right. But it's okay to be like, yo, I'm struggling.
Right.
This things ain't working out.
Right.
I'm taking all the right steps. I'm doing everything I know how to do.
Right.
But I'm not reaching my place.
Right.
Right. And I think when you can be that honest, and you can be that vulnerable.
Yes.
That's the enlightenment.
Yes.
Because people can't assist you until they know the truth.
Facts.
Right. When you live a lie, when your sole fucking existence is a story that you told yourself and it's not true, do know that you are repeating that same lie to everybody else.
Right.
And they only can trust you based on what you show them.
That's right.
Wise man once said to me, my man M, he said, Gail, you got trust issues. I said, you know this, but I trust you. What's up? He said, do you trust the mailman? I said, no. He said, I'm going to ask you this again. I said, all right. He said, do you trust the mailman? I said, yeah, I trust him to put my mail in the mailbox sometimes. He said, do you trust him to pay your bills? I said, nah, it ain't his responsibility. He said, but again, do you trust him to pay your bills? I said, nah, but I do trust him to put the bill in the box. He broke down trust in just that simple phrase. Everybody's got a role. Trust them in their role.
Right.
Everybody got a role. Trust them in their role. Right. On top of that, trust people based on what they show you.
Right.
Right. I distrust at one point in time. I didn't trust anyone, no matter what I saw.
Wow.
Even the people who showed me I could trust them.
Right.
And I'm gonna tell you who I didn't trust the most. The person who said you can trust me.
Wow.
Because that told me that I couldn't trust them. Because they had to convince me to trust them.
They brought it up.
Right. But when my man broke it down to me, no line, was like, yo, Gail, trust the mailman to put the mail in the mailbox. He ain't gonna pay the bills. I was like, man, that's a light bulb.
Right.
That was the aha moment. Right. That was the moment that I looked at everybody for the value that they gave me, the trust that they gave me. They taught me, we teach people how to trust.
Right.
If I want you to trust me, what I do with you, for you, is teaching you how to trust. If I tell you I'm gonna show up at 5 and I always show up at 6, you can now trust that I will never be on time.
Wow.
Don't distrust, but trust that I am not gonna be on time. Right? If you tell me I can't and I don't know, well, then I can trust that you can't and you don't know.
Right.
So if I ask you to do something that you've never done before, I can trust you won't try.
Right.
We have to do that, right? I trust me more than I trust anybody else because I know me is not going to let me down.
Wow. Let that breathe.
Right. And I think that's how we have to be individually.
Yep.
And then when we come together as a group, because if I trust me and I'm honest with me, then I can be honest with you. And then I can say, yes, let's do a thing. And we can all trust that we're going to do a thing.
Right.
So let's get in the RV and travel.
Yeah.
Right. Let's live this life to the fullest because I can trust me in that relationship.
Right.
Now, we still get God's greatest gift, which is to make decisions. And them decisions ain't always the smartest.
Right.
Right. But that's choice.
Right.
So there it is. Right. But man, if 6 months, scrap that. 48, 72 hours.
Right.
We do not know if I'm going to be dead tomorrow.
Real talk.
We can end this show. We can all go home and I don't wake up. One thing I need y'all to say is that motherfucker did pretty much everything he said he was going to do. Some things didn't pan out. But
yeah, you know, you are a master executor.
I'm going to get it done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I want everybody to live that.
Yeah.
Everybody should live that. You should wake up tomorrow and be like, yo, this is what I'm doing today. Yes, I'm going to go to work. Cool. But I'm not about to give this magical fucking institution my life.
There it is.
For percentages of my true value.
Right.
You know, I'm going to take my kid to work with me. Fuck you. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm going to the park. We going fishing. I got this. I'm going to the range. We going shooting. We going to play some video games. We going to jump in a car and drive to Virginia just because we can. Don't have to have rhyme or reason, but I'm going to live this life. You want to be an actor? Wake up tomorrow and start acting.
That's right.
Get a script. Who cares if you're good?
Right.
Who cares if you're not?
Write the script.
Write the script.
All that. I was just having a conversation maybe a week ago, maybe a little less, with a friend, and I was, you know, he's a close friend, so we going back and forth, you know how guys do when you're cool friends. But I was having this conversation with him about given that institution you speak of, you know, quote unquote, the JOB, giving them 120% and you not giving yourself 120%. I was like, bro, what? Something's off here. Like no, absolutely not. Like I cannot give a institution 120 and I don't give myself 120.
Yeah, how am I gonna give you my best days?
I can't give you the best parts of me and not give it to myself too.
No, that's a collaborative agreement in my world. Like if I'm gonna give you the best of me, you damn sure gonna give me the best of you. Man, that's a marriage,
man. And so we was going back and forth with that, but and again, to your point, maybe he don't trust himself. I don't know. But at the end of the day, that's what you got me for. Because if you don't believe in yourself, borrow my belief in you until yours kicks in.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right there.
You know what I'm saying? Right there. You know what I'm saying? Like, borrow mine in you. And we had a deeper conversation, but that's a private thing. But, borrow my belief in you until yours kicks in.
True story.
Nice.
So and then from there, over time, you can start to trust yourself because you went off that inspiration. Webster's, again, definition of inspiration is to breathe life into, right?
Right.
That's what I want to do. I want to breathe life into people. And so, yeah, we was debating and going back and forth as guys do, but there was a message in there. Fight for you. Fight for yourself.
Yes.
Fight for your dream. Fight for your development. Fight for your growth. Fight for your hunger. Fight for your namesake. Right?
Right.
Trust yourself.
Absolutely.
And if you don't, again,
Build it.
build
Get
it
it.
day by day.
Absolutely.
What is the next right move for me to make?
When I was little, and we said this in one of the early shows, I grew up in an abused household, and when I was little, my mom had to refocus me, retool me.
Sure.
And one of the things that she did was she used to have me write on Post-it notes all the great values that I am.
Right.
I'm smart.
Right.
I can do anything.
That's right.
Right. If you don't trust yourself, that's one of the things. I'll tell our listeners right now, go get a Post-it note, write it down, but I can trust me. I can tell me the truth and face it. Wow. The hardest thing is facing it.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell me the truth and I can trust me.
Wow.
Right. I can learn to trust others based on what they show me.
That's right.
Right. And that's what this whole thing, lies, trust, and death. That's
right.
all we have
That's
in a nutshell.
Right.
But man, we can build, we can be our greatest assets. We can be our greatest lovers. Huh?
Right.
You know what I mean? If we do let that breathe.
Yeah, let that breathe.
Yeah, let
right.
that breathe.
With a little bit of lotion.
Sometimes, lotion and KY goes a long way.
Okay.
It was getting a little heavy in here. I had to lighten it up a little bit.
That's important, and I like what you just said. I can tell me the truth, and I can trust me.
I like that too.
I think one of the things that flows out of that is focus.
Yes.
Focus, by definition, is any fine-tuned adjustment needed for clarity.
Oh boy.
And I like in the old radios, they used to have the big dial on the side. If you lifted them up and under, and there was another knob that said fine tune, it would move that dial in smaller increments. And sometimes we get stuck on how many steps we're making. No, focus. Fine-tuned adjustments needed for clarity. And sometimes to have the clarity that make the next step, we need to sharpen our focus right where we are.
Right. Absolutely.
Those fine-tuned adjustments.
Absolutely.
So that we can have clarity to make the next step and each step that comes after that.
So part of this conversation, and we talked about, we was throwing around this word trust and lies, and we was throwing around the words death. And one of the things that we said to each other is, next question would be, when is the first time that you broke trust with someone? And this can be yourself. Right. It can be with yourself or an individual, and without too compromising, because we public.
Right. So I'm gonna answer it because it's two questions, and I'll get both of mine out the way. But it's two questions. When was the first time that someone broke your trust and you broke someone else's trust?
True story.
Right. So the first time that I can remember, and we're talking about something solid, right? We're not talking about the frivolous stuff that just be in the air. Like, that's nothing. But the real stuff, the first time I broke someone's trust, no, I'll do it this way. So the first time someone broke my trust was maybe at 16, 15, somewhere in there. I trusted a young lady, right? and it backfired on me, and it went a totally different direction than I didn't see coming. I was blinded, by all the I was blinded, and it caught me slipping, and I was like, dang, I ain't see that one come. Like it hit me like, oh, hold on, champ.
Yeah.
Like, whoa, I did, when they tell you to duck, when the trainer tell you to duck,
you took it muddy blow.
I took it. I took that one flush on the chin, and I'll tell you the interesting part is the following year, right? I broke somebody else's trust.
She taught you,
and in almost the same fashion.
Interesting.
And so now the excellent part about it, because when we talk about truth or trust, lies, and death and all of that stuff, really it's information, right? And so the cool part about that is I learned that lesson, and I've never repeated that mistake ever again. And I was 17 years old when I broke her trust. I talked about this with you guys at Damon's house when we had dinner.
True story.
But I cheated on a young lady at 17 years old, right? And I broke her trust, and just seeing her face, and I was like, oh snap! When I told her, she didn't find out in the streets. I told her, right? And I seen her face when I told her, and I realized exactly what I meant to her, right? In that moment, right? And I vowed to myself to never, ever repeat that mistake ever again. And I haven't to this day. And I just turned 43 yesterday.
Let's go.
All right.
7777. But that's a whole nother conversation. and so
the laws.
Yeah, 100%.
The law 7. Y'all need to look that up.
Exactly. But I guess you could say I learned it the previous year and then turned around and execute. I don't even know if that's a cool excuse. Like I just took it on the chin. I was out of pocket.
Yeah.
Like ain't no point to think. I was just wrong. I was out of bounds. What I'm saying? I was in violation.
And you human, and you grew and you learned from it.
Right.
And I think that's a beautiful thing.
100%. Never even got close to repeating that mistake ever again in life.
Our flaws make us better in life.
Facts. Facts.
And it speaks to your character.
Right. Yeah. But I seen that face and I was like, oh. And I was like, I don't ever want to repeat that mistake again. And I'm the cause of it. I don't ever want to see that face on a lady again, and I'll be the cause of it.
Yeah.
I wasn't good with that. I was crippled.
Got you.
Real quick. Nikki just asked an interesting question for you, Tranere. It says, is that why you aren't married? Afraid to repeat?
No, I'm not afraid to repeat because I'm good with my behavior now. Like I know who I am and what I am. So no, that's not why I'm married. I just think I'm very particular about who I connect my name to. Like I'm even like that. Even the football coach that I coach with, like the first thing he said to me is, "Hey man, I know you ain't great coach with everybody. No, I'm not, because I'm not great connect my name to everything. Like I can connect my name to Miguel. I know who he is. I know what he's about. You know what I mean? I've spent years before we did anything as far as business wise, before we did anything together. Like we talked
True
a lot.
Story.
I got to know Damon. I got to know you over this process. Like, and one of the things that I know about you is that you always mention your family. Right. I was listening to a podcast a few weeks ago, and the guy said, you might be a 6-figure earner. You might be able to go out here and make money and do all these amazing things, but you suck as a husband, but you suck as a father. Right. So are you really winning? Right. And one thing I know about you is your family is top of the line for you. I've learned that over these weeks. And so, no, I know who I am and what I'm about, and I'm not afraid to repeat those mistakes or anything. Like I said, I don't even get close to that. But I don't even put myself in situations where that could even be people say, oh, yeah, it just happened. I tripped. And no.
That's not you. It's like, oh.
I'm just not buying it. Like I'm a guy. I'm just not buying it. If you knew 6 weeks ago you wanted to hit it.
Just fell into the girl.
So, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like you knew 6 weeks ago you wanted to hit it.
Splash. How did I get in that? Oh.
But At the end of the day, no, that's not why I'm not married. But I am very, very particular about who or what I connect my name to.
Respect. It's crazy because I was I think about trust in that relationship, and my forge in life in the beginning was built on distrust.
Yes.
Right. So I was taught to be dishonest,
Yeah.
trained to be it, beaten in some degree to be ambiguous. Right. And so I it's a funny thing to, as a kid. So I guess I tell the story two ways, right? So as a kid, leaving one abusive household and going to another created a whole different kind of dynamic for me, because I left my stepfather's house into my father's home, and my father was psychologically abusive and sometimes physically, and all the great things that he did do, that was still part of it, right? And so he taught me how not to trust men. But he also taught me how not to trust someone who you ought to trust.
Right.
And I learned that at a really young age.
Right.
And so in that, my very nature became extremely deceptive.
Right.
And I remember another time, as I flipped this same story, is when I went back to my stepfather's household, and he was beating my mom, and and things were going on, and I remember playing outside with a little kid, didn't know him. We was just maybe barbecue, cookout, I don't know. And I remember going out and I was playing with this kid, and kids talk, kids share, right? So he apparently was asking me questions, and so I began to share what my life was like, without understanding that there are repercussions for what I'm sharing. And so he apparently goes back and tells his mom and his dad and whatever's going on, and so later on that evening, I go back to where I'm standing at an uncle's house, and my uncle was like, "I can't believe you told that kid everything that's happening in your house," and then they whooped me for it.
Wow.
So I got beat.
Yep.
For telling somebody that I get beat.
Right.
Telling the truth.
And in that created a whole nother layer of my deception.
Right.
So I was trained to be deceptive, beat into a lifestyle. So for me, I don't know that I was honest with a lot of people for a long time, only because I existed in that world, and from a child to probably maybe a teenager. Like a lot of my friends when I was a kid, they'd be like, "Dude, you mean as shit," right? But it wasn't until one day I woke up and realized that this life that I am, who I want to become, then I have to redefine this. And I love love my wife, because Tia has been really, really kind of a guide through this process of undoing a lot of the damage that adults do to children.
Wow.
And specifically did to me.
Wow.
But she taught me that I could trust. She also taught me how to trust people. And I've had some other friends that have come around there too. So I can answer that question hands down and say, between elementary school to high school, I probably was the honest, most untrustworthy person you could ever meet.
Repeat that, please.
I was the honest, most untrustworthy person you could meet.
I actually understood that.
So you would just tell people, "I'm great, get you on."
I tell you whatever you needed to hear for me to do what I needed to do.
Gotcha. Wow.
And there was no rhyme or reason for it. I didn't make up shit. I created shit.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean? And the scary part is, so one of the things is as a kid, they taught me how to be a thief.
Right.
I could break into your house. I could, my dad used to tell me when I was in second grade that if it wasn't in the package, it belonged to me. So I started taking shit out of the package, because if it wasn't in the package, it belonged to me. So fuck it, take it out the package.
Wow.
Right.
Wow.
And so, but it took time to undo that.
Yeah.
It took time for me to be trustworthy to myself.
Right.
Right. And then when I realized that one of my things is I hate liars, right? And in this little conversation, you're starting to understand why. But as I came to be who I consider I am today, you know, an honest person who believes in not cheating people, who believes in not stealing from people, sometimes so much that I allow people to abuse situations. You know, when I look at that, you know, it's all those lessons, it's all the relationships, and you know, gotta love my wife because she's been, you know, instrumental and be like, yo, she used to tell me all the time, she's like, babe, you are one of the most ambiguous people I've ever met. Because I would, you know, because I didn't want to lie, but I would never tell the truth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, so those are my first times. Those are, you know, but since then, you know, life as an adult is a different thing. But I think that just goes back to, you know, we got to face the things that haunt us.
That's right.
We got to face the things that would hold us back.
That's right.
And we have to be honest with ourselves.
That's
like I can't be this dude if I'm not honest about that.
Right.
Right. I got to play my role, because at some point we had these conversations sometimes in the family where we talk about, you know, surviving trauma.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Part of surviving trauma is admitting when you decided to stay in it. It's still parts of it is not your fault, but at some point in time, things become a decision. Mm-hmm. And this is just my ideology and my opinion.
Right.
You know, and when I decided not to be that thing that they created,
right,
I get to be me, but I had to be honest with it.
Right.
So it's all internal for me.
Right.
Real talk.
That's deep.
Interesting.
Yeah. So
it's interesting how much our lives parallel. The more I hear about yours, I recognize things in my own. Because I grew up in a household that I now realize was very hostile to the very thing that I was. Because I heard the statements, I could have been this if you hadn't been born.
Damn.
I could have done this if I hadn't had you.
Wow.
I heard about the displeasure that was felt because I was born and I was a boy and I wasn't what was wanted.
Right. I remember you saying that.
So I think I learned early on, and you're not gonna look back on it and have come to a point where I have forgiveness in regards to the situation, but I do realize and can recognize how it shaped and molded my ability to trust women. Because you're telling me one thing. You're telling me that your life could have been so much greater,
right,
different if I wasn't here, but you continue to keep me here so that you can have that emotional kicking stone.
Wow.
Now don't get me wrong. I love my mother, but this is my life. So I also learned how to be very ambiguous. I learned how to tell just enough of what was going on to not make it look like a lie, even though it wasn't the whole truth. You know, because in the vein of keeping up appearances, because there were times we were homeless. There were times that, you know, my sister was in the hospital. We didn't have a place to stay. I would sleep in the car. My mother would go and stay in my sister's room. She'd come get me in the morning, go into the hospital, clean up in the bathroom, and go to school. This was my life.
Wow.
So I learned that I cannot trust you with my life. But at the same point, I have nowhere else to go. And, you know, I remember this is the first time I'm going to say this out loud, I guess. I came to a point in the 9th grade. I was tired of the abuse. I was tired of the mental and the emotional abuse. I was tired of not being wanted. I was tired of praying every night. God, just let me wake up and be a girl. And I knew I would be loved at that point. And it came to a breaking point for me, 9th grade. And we were in this 4-room house. We all slept in one room. I woke up in the middle of the night and I was just done. Walked into the kitchen, got the biggest knife we had in the house and stood over the beds of my mother and my sister. And my sheer plan was to kill both of them and kill myself because I just didn't want to hurt like that anymore. this was the absolute first time for me that I've experienced the presence of God as I knew it, because I grew up in the church.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just a very calming sensation. It was almost like a light shone around me. And as I stood there, I just began to cry. And after I don't know how long of a time I stood there, but then I just went, put the knife back in the kitchen, went and got in my bed and went to sleep. Woke up the next morning, nothing changed. It was the same thing. But within me was a degree of peace. It is taking a lot for me to get to where I am now. And I credit key women in my life. My grandmother, my youngest son's mother, my youngest son's grandmother, as well as his great grandmother, my Uncle Ray, who enabled me or taught me to see women in a totally different light.
That's right.
And without these people strategically placed in my life, when they came into my life, I would probably be dead today.
Wow.
You know, because I like I said, I woke up, nothing changed. High school is trying. You know, I attempted suicide twice. Came close the second time, close in the first. But you know, and Angel, my wife, she is amazing. You know, your wife, I've known you all for 10 years and we've talked over time. You know, women who have come into my life and shown me that I can trust them with me, that they're not out to destroy me. They're not out to take from me, and be able to see how they want to give and how they love. So I think that's how my trust was broken. And out of that, I lived recklessly for years. I ain't gonna lie. Reckless.
Wow.
There it is.
And, you know, really operate out of a mindset that, you know, I want you to hurt as much as I'm hurting.
Wow.
So I'm going to identify a thing that you want most and give you a piece of it and then take it from you.
Got you.
And that's just how I lived. Being able to look in the mirror at myself.
Right.
And be able to honestly identify what's really there and not afraid anymore to see and understand who I am. You know, being transparent. And I have had and have those conversations with my sons, because, you know, I was not a father to them in the way I needed to be, or nor in the way I even wanted to be. You know, you just mentioned about when did you decide to stay in it? Realizing for me that it was more comfortable to stay in that place of distrust, because I knew all the players of the game, I knew all the moves, and I could make them, than to strive to get out of it. And that's where I was for a good portion of my early life and early adult life.
Got you.
Wow.
Well, while we're talking, I wanna Tia decided she wanted to jump in this joint, and so we want to see if she's there with us. And
Hey.
What's going on, lady?
Oh, can y'all hear me?
Yeah, and they can see you too.
Oh, awesome. Hey, odd fellas, how y'all doing?
Hey.
Cool. I don't have anything. I just kind of wanted to like be in the room.
He did just hit it with the hey.
Well, welcome. You feel, you know, for those of y'all who are listening to the podcast, Tia is our local own LCSW, and so she corrects us, and she's also our historian
and then mother
who keeps us on path. And so sometimes, you know, the silent text message or the poke from Facebook, you know, comes from that world. So
right.
Thank you for chiming in here. You know, you speak at will. Damon, what are your thoughts? You know, you want to jump in here, brother?
About trust. My brain works in weird ways sometimes, and I went from trust to teamwork, because you have to have for a team to work with the football player in the room, especially the quarterback. that's a great example. It's the only reason I really like football, to be honest. Because you need 11 guys. You need 11, and it's the weakest link. You need 11 guys. Everybody has to be doing the same thing. That has to be on the same page, and everything is timing. And it took me a long time to get that. And so I went from trust to teamwork to something I wrote down earlier when we were talking about, lies and death and all that stuff. And I wrote down, slavery is America's original sin. Rugged individualism is its lie.
Woo. Do that again.
Slavery is America's original sin. Rugged individualism is its lie.
What does that mean?
Okay, so you watch cowboy movies, right? I watch a lot of movies. I don't watch as many movies as Tranere, evidently, but I watch a lot of movies. And it always is the protagonist against all odds by himself, like he's the hero, da-da-da-da-da. And we always talk about the individual accomplishments of celebrities. We talk about the individual, in history, we talk about individual compliments.
Facts.
And people talk about, you can't get yours because it's your fault. That's how people deny systemic racism, right?
Facts.
When in actuality, I want to look at some of those people as like, you find one person who ever did anything by themselves, I'll wait.
Facts.
Real talk.
I'll wait, because that you'll never ever find that. And the quicker that we meaning all of us, not just black people, I've said this over and over again. If we could ever figure out how to reach poor white people, this shit is over. That's the truth.
That might just be the movement that we're looking at today, but let's go.
That's the God's honest truth of it, because once they figure out that they've been lied to, once they've been figured out that they've been fooled, and they've been using the same tricks throughout American history. I've listened to White Rage, a book by Carol Anderson. I was like, pardon my language, holy shit!
You can have $1.
It's literally the same playbook. Every time they say, okay, we're going to do this, like all the milestones, like with Lincoln or with the civil rights movement, like it explained how, okay, we're going to give you this piece and then scale it back and then use poor white people against black people while the rich get richer.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Because, you got to do it on your own. I did it by myself. Why can't you do it yourself? That's not how anything works.
That's interesting you say that, because I always tell kids, if somebody tells you they made it to the top by themselves, they lying to you. Run.
Right. They're trying to sell you something.
Right.
They just killed the guy that was on top of the hill. That's how they sitting there.
Right.
Rockefeller.
Right. But also you said something when you was talking about the quarterback and all that, and that's why you like football, all that stuff. And it made me think just for a split second, quarterback is the most glorified position on the team.
Sure.
Right? Which one of y'all's a quarterback? All that.
That's where the money is.
That's where the money is. That's what the first position that's discussed, right?
Absolutely.
So most glorified position on the team, right? It's also the most dependent position on the team.
Absolutely.
Quarterback without a line, without the running back, without the receivers, he's nothing.
You're right-handed or left-handed?
I'm right-handed.
So you're left tackle, correct?
Yes.
I'm not that good with football, but
so
your left tackle is the most important person to you.
100%.
You know what I mean? Like, you don't have that guy, it's a wrap, no matter how good your arm is.
That's why we call him insurance.
Right.
That's right.
So that's something that we need to get, that it's we as in everybody, we need to get that we need each other.
100%.
We need each other. That's where it comes into the whole trust that we've been talking about, the whole theme of the show.
Right.
If you can't do that, if we can't trust each other, nothing gets done.
That's right.
Truthfully, we're gonna kick that word need out the window, though.
There we go.
We're gonna kick that word.
Right.
It is required of us.
That's right.
To work together.
It is required of us to work. Let me take it back to it is required of us to work together to get where we want to go.
Absolutely.
Shout out to who? What's her name?
Miss Anta Fields.
Anta Fields.
Not Anta. Sorry, Miss Faye. I apologize. I don't know how Anta's name came in my mouth.
Right.
Miss Faye Allen, who breaks that down and teaches us wise lessons. Real talk. I apologize.
Absolutely.
I don't even know how that happened.
Tia's saying something.
But
Tia, did you want to say something?
I don't. I'm really just enjoying this whole observation because y'all talked about so much tonight. I was even listening to y'all when I went and got my own beverage because I looked and see where y'all had some beverage.
That's the name of the game. Everybody grab a beverage when you come see us, man.
That's right.
Yep.
That's right.
You all keep talking. I like this idea about being a den mother. I just kind of sit back and watch some stuff right now. Thank you, Damon, for that. So yeah, I don't really have anything yet to say. You all are covering it. Y'all are doing a good job tonight.
Okay.
Y'all don't need me to validate you for that, bro. Y'all don't need that.
Validation is always a beautiful thing, no matter
Yes, it
where it
is.
comes from. So yes, we don't need, but validations are required, and we will accept them.
We appreciate
Absolutely.
validation.
Absolutely. But lies, truth, and death. I mean, the reality of it is that America is a farce, full of shit. Definitely, if you're black and poor, and or considered an indigenous people, right? This whole concept of American dream was a bunch of wealth, lies, and a whole lot of lack of truth.
Right.
They were a bunch of wealthy, rich white men from another country who basically told each other a bunch of lies that they created was truth, and stole a bunch of people and made them do a bunch of work, and here we are today. So
and it's much easier to do that when it's much easier to stay in that when you not only are on top, you get to make all the rules to stay on top.
Absolutely. And so the craziest brainwashing thing that we all fall into is still listening to them.
Right.
We still absorb their colonial dialogue, their pamphlets, right? Every commercial that runs on television, the whole banking concept, the whole concept of government to some degree, this two-party system alleged, right? We still listen to the very people we still want to trust, the very people who have shown us time and time again that they are not trustworthy.
Right.
We can trust them to lie.
Right.
We can trust them to be deceptive. We can trust them to be brutal. We can trust them to rape. We can trust all the things that they have showed us time and time again, and that they showed us. Rest in peace, Breonna Taylor.
Wow.
David McAtee, George Floyd.
Wow.
Right? They show us every day how to trust them. Should we? Hell no. Right? I know that if I get pulled over, it's likely I'm gonna die. That's what I can trust.
Right.
That's what I can trust. I can trust that our political system was never built for anyone who was black, brown, or poor.
Correct.
I can trust that.
Right.
I can trust that the economic system took gold, something of real value, as they raped it and pulled it out of Africa and told the rest of the world that this piece of paper that we put God we trust on is more valuable than actual elements of the earth.
We can trust that what's said
Did you go with that, Lord?
And what's actually done are two different things.
True story. Don't sign a treaty. Native Americans, indigenous folks know it true. Say that, baby. What'd you say?
What Tranere say?
I said we can trust that what's said and what's actually done are two different things.
Yeah, you're right, and I think that's how we live. Like as I was listening to Damon's story, as I was listening to him kind of process that, it really pinpoints how it is that we decide how we are going to survive. So, around the ages of what maybe 7, 8, 9, I'll just keep it real simple. We make some real solid decisions based upon experiences that we've had about how we are going to survive people. And I often see this country in that way. Like Miguel used to get on me all the time because I used to say, one thing that I learned, and it was not only from society in general, but, also at times from my parents, was how to make sure that white people felt comfortable. And that is how I have really survived. Is, they like how we run. They like how we dance. They like how we sing. I sing. And so I don't mind that. I really don't. Guess it's one of the gifts that God gave me.
That's
But
right.
I also know that it's something that has helped me to help people get comfortable. And so what I can trust about and I love Miguel's definition of trust. I can trust based upon what you've done over time, because trust is consistency over time.
That's right.
Trust is consistency over time. If you a liar, I can trust that you gonna lie.
That's right.
If you a thief, I can trust that you gonna be a thief. Because consistently you have been a liar and you have been a thief. And at the same time, if you're a person who has been a giving person, I can trust that you're going to do that too. So my response many times had been to adjust myself according to what it is that I trust about you. I don't know why I got into that tangent, but there was something about what you said, Tranere, that really just kind of triggered some, if not all of that. So I'm sorry if I got you all off track, but yes.
No,
sorry.
That was excellent. That was excellent.
That made me think of something. Something I've been dealing with recently, especially as things have ramped up racially, I guess, or at least publicly. I remember a coworker saying, "It's like, man, you can fit in anywhere. You're like a chameleon. You can fit in anywhere and kind of just fade to the background." And I sat there and thought about it, and that really bothers me. And I've been thinking about why I do that. And it's a survival mechanism. It's a survival mechanism.
Yes.
I've always been the smallest person in the room, and the smallest guy in the room anyway. And so the first thing to do is make people comfortable and make sure that I look like I pose no threat. Now I'm listening to everything, but I make sure that to everybody else, I don't pose a threat. I'm easy to get along with because frankly, I don't give a shit about most people's opinions, to be honest. I'm like, oh, that's what you think? You can jump off a bridge, but I can be civil to you.
Yeah.
Because that's what is required of me. And that's another reason we were talking earlier, like trying to move away from my current place of employment, because I'm starting to want to be less civil and be more honest. But also know that I could be a real asshole because I don't like to mince words. I like to say, this is what I'm thinking. This is the truth as I see it. Do with it as you will.
True story.
And balancing being able to say that without just mashing on somebody's feelings is a skill that I still haven't developed. And I don't know. I may never be like real sterling at it, but I've always had people around me that have loved me and protected me. Like, holy cow. I'll go ahead and say it. I had
Is that where you two connect?
What do you mean?
What do you mean?
Because he's got that too.
What?
Where he don't care what you think. He gonna say what he feel and do with it what you will.
I was infinitely worse. Like infinitely worse. And like I wrote a couple checks that I luckily bluffed my way through that I probably could not cash, but I will talk cash money shit. Wow. That's the God's honest truth of it. But no, go ahead.
As you all were talking about trust, I want us to not forget the depth of Maria's statement last week about the system isn't broke. Yes. It is doing we can trust that it's doing exactly what it was designed to do.
Yeah,
true story.
No offense, that didn't land on me yesterday. It didn't land on me the way it landed on you guys. And here's why. And I mean this as a compliment, because I know those two. I'm pointing at the screen and Miguel. Mm-hmm. Because I know those two. I already understood that the system was already broken. It was not broken. It was built that way.
Right.
And I wasn't surprised that Suge already knew that. You know what I mean? Right. Like when it landed, I was like, oh yeah, that's to be expected. One is true. Two, it came out of a Hamilton. You know what I mean?
Real talk, facts.
Like
did you say a Hamilton?
Did I say Hamilton?
Hampton. My last name is a slave name and an adopted name. You can call
me
whatever
you want.
My bad. Let's go.
You can actually erase that. So now, but it came from Hampton. It was truth. You know what I mean? It was like, okay, cool. I just wanted to throw that in there because it was like, Why is everybody so
I think
shocked
it-
about that?
Hold on, go ahead, Tia, real quick. What'd you say?
Well, no. I was, you know what, and that was very interesting because for the longest time, see, names are very powerful. And, you know, for the longest time, Miguel used to say, well, you know, Hampton's a slave name, you know, but I was like, you know what, this is what's important. And there was something that David Head said in the comments about, you know, this is all very sad, but we need to push the energy and push the energy forward. Is that, you know, despite how Miguel felt about his name, it was really important for him to begin to redefine what the name Hampton meant.
Yes.
And that is extremely important. So no matter what it is that we've learned from the people who had the power to teach us, if we've learned things that have not necessarily been beneficial or learned things that have been unhealthy, and Miguel is right. Like at a certain point in time, when you're in an abusive relationship, if you've been able to kind of move yourself away from it a bit, abusers teach us how to self-abuse. People or toxic people can teach us over time how to self-abuse. So even if we're out of that situation, we will continue that same abuse. So if he continued to believe that Hampton was just a slave name, it meant nothing, I made it very clear to him that he now has a daughter. He now has a daughter who her only name has only been Hampton. My name is Tia Williams Hampton. And so, you know, and that was indicative to me because the name Williams to me meant something incredible to me. Right. It meant something incredible to me. Now, you don't know any history about my father. Well, some of you may, you know, but he didn't come from anything according to him either, but he came from richness. To me, he came from tons of richness. So I think that, you know, you're right. It's about how we redefine ourselves. It's the second principle in the Nguzo Saba. It's Kujichagulia. It's self-determination. It's being able to name ourselves, to define ourselves, and to tell our own stories. And I believe that that's where we are in this country. And the cool thing is that at this point in time, it appears that other people are starting to believe or research or find out that the stories we've been telling about ourselves are true. So it's not just that we're all terrible and that we're all lazy or dumb or don't achieve in a certain way. It's that we have a history that we have survived, that we have thrived, that we have made it, and we can do that for ourselves individually as well. So I just wanted to jump in there and say that we really, it's cool to kind of, you know, acknowledge where we come from, but pushing the energy forward, you know, how do we continue with this momentum that we have right now as a country, not just as a people, because we have people joining us now. Like, hey, I hear your story now. I never heard these stories before. I get it now. And so at a certain point in time, we're going to decide to either stay in that narrative of you've done this stuff to us, okay? Or we're going to say, okay, you've done this stuff to us, and this is how we're going to move on and move forward in order to achieve. And this country is going to be very challenging, though, because we definitely have forces that work against that, and I will not be convinced otherwise.
True story.
That's where I am with it.
Ridiculously obvious.
Yeah, that's right.
It's ridiculously obvious.
Wow.
We approaching our cutoff time, fellas.
Well, let me say this, and then
I can't believe I'm about to say this. Boo.
Yeah. So, we talk about trust and transparency. Shout out to my friend Sherrod. He's in Indianapolis.
What up?
And he said to me in a text that we're going to talk about why I haven't mentioned this podcast to him. So I can trust that he's going to have a conversation with me about this. But no, that's my guy. He's got a birthday in a couple of days. And of course, you know, I'll call him on his birthday. But, you know, happy birthday, happy early birthday to you, fam. I'll holler at you in a couple of days. But trust.
Jump on here next week with us, bro, if you listening.
Yeah, jump on. Man.
Real quick. Well, since we're going around the table, we're almost out of time. What is there anything you need from us? How's the cookbook coming? Because I have some ideas on stuff we can do here to get your stuff sold. So what's going on with the that's another thing I'm good at is coming up with crazy ideas from the ether. So
hey, 6 months, brother.
Hey,
That's right.
It-
6 months.
Life over.
It's
least
coming
this one.
together. I'm writing my recipes down. I'm tweaking them right now to fine tune them so they're exact and repeatable. So I've been working on it.
how many do you have? How many do you have close to like 80% completed?
Well, probably at least 15.
Sweet. That is a
20.
full cookbook. All right, then. So what are you bringing us next week so we can sample one of your recipes from this book?
I love self alley-oop.
Yeah.
Putting me on blast like this.
He did give a self
The self alley-oop is gangster.
Right.
Literally, the Spud Web dunk just
Hey,
happened.
dude.
You're welcome.
I guess it'll just be a surprise.
I'm all right, dude.
Right.
I guess it's okay. Real quick, the one thing I didn't mention is today the season finale of season 1 of Demond does drop today.
Whoop, whoop.
It's the only
yeah.
one that I've had that's just me talking, and it's talking about how some of the things that have started, some of the mistakes I've made, where I'm going. I've got another podcast that I'm about to launch in a couple weeks, actually, July 16th. Anybody binge watching A Different World besides me?
No,
We've done it. Unfortunately, with Suge probably about
3 years ago.
man.
Well, you might want. Well, you know what? You can always join it. You can always start joining me again because what I'm doing, I've teamed with my friend Madeline Rosenberg. It's kind of like her. She's taking the lead on this thing, and since the show is still relevant, she
Yes.
wanted to go through all the whole
Yes.
series
Yes.
and review the shows and talk about it and make have some fun 80s and 90s references and stuff like that. And we started doing it. We've taped like 6 shows and it's been so much fun. And I think our listener base would get a kick out of that too. So
What season are you all on, Demond? What season are you all on?
we're on season 1. We just started a couple weeks ago. I think we've taped 6 or 7. We're looking for interviews and stuff, but it's called Different World, Same Story.
Oh, awesome!
Yeah.
And who's playing this? How are y'all binge watching? Which I guess program or network are y'all using?
I'd rather not say because they're not paying, and I don't want to put any more money in people's pockets. It's on Amazon Prime. It's on Amazon Prime,
Okay.
and binging is a little bit relative because we're basically doing 1 or 2 shows a week. So I have a whole week to do notes, and they're going to come out once a week. So if you haven't watched it and you're interested in watching it, we're going to start. Our first episode is going to start drop January 16th at 8:30. I'll let you get the significance of that. I'll let y'all look that up. But and we're going to release an episode every week. So that gives everybody a week to actually watch the show. And then when we come to talk about it, we're working on setting up some community things so more people can talk about it, and we can talk about the not only the what we were doing back then, because all of us were kids, but also how it's still relevant and how it still matters and what we can learn and how we can learn and teach from it. So
Right.
There it is. So the podcast, Demond Does, it's out there. Go grab it, Apple Podcast. So y'all can catch up on the season 1 because season 2 is going to be funky dope.
Right. So I'm gonna do a quick little traineering real quick.
Go for it.
Uh,
it's traineering.
oh my goodness.
You're welcome.
But through this podcast, this episode that we've talked through here tonight, I just want to remind people to be you. Be unapologetically you. Go for the things that are in your heart. Fight for it. Claw for it. Strive for it. Achieve for it. And believe that you can do it. And again, if you don't believe, borrow my belief in you until yours kicks in. You can do these things. The good Lord placed it in your heart for a reason. And it wasn't just to sit it there. And so that book, that business, that podcast, that cookbook, hint, whatever the creative, fancy little ideas that you have, mustering up in your mind, go for it. And just let us know, and we'd be honored to assist in any way. But go for it, man. This is your time. Your time is now. Again, if January 1st, 2021, it was all over, like, what would you do? So don't wait anymore. The best time to plant that seed again is today.
True story. Be present.
I need that one.
So just go for it and don't look back and know I love you, and we gonna rock out and we gonna celebrate you, and we look forward to hearing your story on the Odd Fellas.
True story.
We love you too, Trey.
Take us home, big man.
So as we wrapping up, we want to say peace, love, and hair grease, but we got a special treat for y'all tonight. So we're gonna wrap up. I'm not saying nothing because Tranere dropped the bomb. Look, we gotta live his life until it's over. So every day, wake up, do the damn thing. And so we start today. A man over here wrote a poem dedicated to Breonna Taylor here in Louisville, Kentucky, because we still don't have justice. I believe it's either 42 or 43 days, and they still lying and killing people. So with that being said, we close out with Damon. Do your thing.
This poem is entitled Shortly After Midnight. It was shortly after midnight when stealth was their ally and not her comforting friend. It was shortly after midnight when no-knock invaders brought her flame of life to an untimely end. It was shortly after midnight as the moon bore witness hanging gracefully in the sky. It was shortly after midnight, swift action taken, life was lost, tears eternally falling, so much calamity wrapped in a lie. It was shortly after midnight, and I just can't get it out of my head. Moments of peace suddenly broken. Now sweet dreams, hopes, and visions lay shattered through 8 points of entry. They're now forced to wake up dead. It was shortly after midnight when blue snuffed out black again. The utter failure to protect and serve black bodies. Will this cycle throughout our history ever end? You see, blue walked in ancestral footprints of when whites took off from black bodies, including life itself. No warning was truly given, except no-knock invaders and shots fired, then silence to be eternally felt. It was shortly after midnight when ghosts of ancient masters reached out into this moment in time. Hearts now shattered, grief's been planted, peace and comfort we're struggling to find. It was shortly after midnight, and you may be wondering what ghosts, what history, or the matter of black life viewed through white eyes too blind to see. Then pause, let that breathe for just a moment, and step back in time for a moment with me. You see, there once was a guy named Jack, better known as Cracker. Took one look at my sisters and swore he had to have her. Took her straight out the field and put her smack dab in the house. Shortly after the midnight hour, all you heard were her screams and shouts. It was shortly after midnight, and life will never be the same again. Familiar songs echo throughout our history. Black lives lost, no charge given. Blue life walks to breathe again. It was shortly after midnight as the moon would be forced to bear witness again. This time, not black bodies from trees swinging, but by 8 rounds, this body now sleeping. In memory of Breonna Taylor.
Give me that 12 song.
Wow.
We still live?
Yep. Wow.
Y'all let that breathe.
Let that breathe.
This is Common Conversations. We appreciate y'all whining and dining and drinking with us. We'll see you next week. Catch us on Apple, Spotify, and a few other places where you can download the podcast. We'll hopefully have this bad boy edited and ready to rumble in the next couple of days. Thank you. We appreciate you. Peace, love, and hair grease.
Pick me up a tray, staring at the homeless man. I'm one check away, barely turn the TV on. Ain't nobody doing right to make things worse. They want to take away our rights. Power for the dollar, greed to kill us all. Money for a war that can feed us all. In God we trust. They kill me with that saying. Government, office, dominion, quit playing. Power to the people, rest in the nation. Power to the people, what's the situation? Power to the people, rest in the nation. Power to the people, what's What's your situation? Power to the people, trust in the nation. Power to the people. What's your situation? New virus every year, ain't nobody safe. U.S. a corporation, they just have to get paid. Too big to fail, divide and to conquer. Send you off the war, let you die with honors. They got us all distracted, chasing after money. American dream got us looking like a zombie. Not to mention all the lies, covered up by crime. The wealth we possess came from genocide, terrorizing foreign land. All over game, bomb for control. You laugh at they pain, had a media. Make the lie real big, then you go and research it. Used to make the lie big.